The Series 45 Electronic Torque Limiting, or ETL service tool, enables the user to set up torque limiting software and perform in-the-field tuning and adjustments. This tutorial can be used as a quick start guide for getting your application up and running. It will cover basic setup steps required to get your system functioning. Further optimization and tuning may be required to get the most out of your machine's performance. The ETL service tool captures all the functionality required for you to cater the system to your needs. Some of the highlights include setting up pump size and pressure, selecting engine speed inputs, calibrating the angle sensor, and establishing the torque limit profile. Now, let's get started using the Quick Start Guide. First, review the basic layout of the ETL service tool. Navigating through the service tool can be done with either the System Navigator pane or the navigation buttons. ETL service tool screens are outlined under the parameter pages tree of the System Navigator. Toggle switches may be used to select between two input types. Fault monitoring indicators are used to indicate system status. Finally, a variety of system outputs are shown on each screen to relay information for reference, such as engine speed, displacement, and control current. A useful overview of the system's current state is found in the System Overview. This is also useful for navigating to specific service tool screens. First, begin the ETL setup by entering the appropriate information into the input boxes found in the pump setup screen. The max pump PC pressure should correspond with the pump's pressure compensator setting. It's important to note that this software setting does not override the pump's factory mechanical setting. The LS pressure setting defines the margin setting of the pump. This must be equal to the LS pressure setting as set by the factory. The max pump speed is used to calculate power consumed by the pump and is for reference purposes only. It is not required for torque limiting to function properly. Input the highest working engine speed. This input does not limit the physical pump speed in any way, so make sure your pump is operating within its rated limits. Max pump displacement defines the physical maximum pump displacement to be scaled to the angle sensor's voltage output. This is also known as the pump's nominal displacement. Threshold current defines the minimum current for active torque limiting in the control. It's based on max pump PC pressure, LS pressure setting, and 12 versus 24 volt coil characteristics. This is an interpolated value that references load sensing pressure versus current curves. A recommended threshold setting is calculated by the software after the pump settings are entered. The Use Recommended button transfers this value to the threshold current input box. You will need to upload parameters from the ECU after selecting Use Recommended in order to see the recommended value in the threshold current box. You will want to make sure you downloaded all updated parameters to the ECU, and then proceed to the RPM input setting screen. One of the two configurations may be used for inputting engine speed into the +1 microcontroller. For a pulse pickup application, toggle the input to pulse per revolution and set the number of pulses per revolution in the pulse pickup calibration field. The MFN frequency will display the frequency at which the speed ring sensor is sensing pulses. For CAN bus speed signals, toggle the input to CAN. Now you're ready to proceed to the angle sensor calibration screen. You should always remember to calibrate your angle sensor on a new machine to ensure accurate angle sensor voltage readings, based on both the maximum and minimum pump displacements. Capture the minimum pump displacement voltage by clicking Capture Voltage while operating pump at maximum engine speed and low pressure standby. Low pressure standby is attained by operating the machine at full engine speed without commanding any functions. This allows the machine's valve to block off all flow from the pump and de-stroke the pump to its minimum pressure and flow condition. The machine should be operating at maximum engine speed during this time. Capture the maximum pump displacement voltage by turning off the machine. Since Series 45 open circuit pumps are biased to full stroke, the swash plate will naturally return to its full stroke position after the engine is shut off. Jog the starter 2 to 3 times without allowing the machine to start to make sure residual pressure is evacuated from the servo piston cavity. It is possible for the minimum displacement voltage to be greater than the maximum displacement voltage due to the different relationships between swash plate angle and voltage for the J and F frame versus the E frame pumps. For more information, refer to your ETL control manual. After your angle sensor is calibrated, it's time to proceed to the torque limit profile setup screen. This screen serves as the heart and soul of the torque limiting functionality. If you are referencing the engine manufacturer's torque versus speed map for your machine, enter 7 respective values from the chart into the boxes. At this point, you'll need to convert the actual torque value from the chart to a percentage of the S45 pump's maximum consumable torque. For details on performing this calculation for pump torque set points, see the ETL Control User Manual. If you don't have the engine manufacturer's chart information available, start by entering the maximum torque consumable by the S45 pump. You'll then need to reduce the torque percentage allowed by a guess and check method while operating the machine to test performance throughout the engine's speed range. Congratulations! At this point, you should have a functioning ETL system. Do not be surprised if you find yourself spending quality time with your machine while optimizing your 7 torque limit profile set points. This is the step which allows the most flexibility in the tuning process, and experimentation is encouraged to achieve the desired machine feel. Did you remember to download all the updated parameters to the ECU? There are many other software tuning parameters which contribute to a successful machine setup, such as threshold current tuning, command filter settings, and boost mode. For information on these and other electronic torque limiting setup features, please reference your ETL Control User Manual or contact your Danfoss representative.